Hey everyone, welcome to today's Education Plus Global Classroom on building your Wellbeing Toolkit. I'm your host, Stuart Jansen. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm so glad you could be a part of this program today. This Global Classroom has been brought to you by Wellbeing Canada, an initiative designed to empower every Canadian to support their own well-being. Check it out.
Hey there, future leaders. This is Wes Hall from CBC's Dragon's Den. I'm reaching out to you today about an opportunity that can genuinely make a difference in your lives. I want to introduce you to Wellbeing Canada, a new program which promotes mental health and well-being among the young champions like you. You know, opportunities like these don't come every day. As someone who believes in making a difference, I see this program as a game changer for you all. So get involved, take this chance, and get on board.
Hello, young leaders of today. My name is Martin Luther King III, and I extend to you an invitation to participate in Wellbeing Canada, a unique platform created with your future in mind. This program exemplifies your commitment to mental health and your overall well-being. As my father, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., profoundly said, "The time is always right to do that which is right." I encourage you to seize this moment and join us in this journey towards a healthier, brighter future. After all, your time to make a difference is now.
To gain access to all the free resources offered by Wellbeing Canada, visit wellbeing-canada.ca. This program is not just a presentation, but a conversation. We will be having activities throughout the show, and you can participate on your own, or with the people around you, or if you're watching live, participate in the chat. I want to begin this program by acknowledging that the land that I'm on today in Toronto, Ontario, is the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, as now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We should all celebrate the culture, teachings, and history of the Indigenous peoples, who are the original caretakers of this land. Now, as we begin talking about well-being, let's think about which UN Sustainable Development Goal is most connected to this topic. The answer is SDG 3, good health and well-being. Good health is not just about physical health, but overall mental health as well. And one of the best ways to support your mental health is to take care of it regularly and prevent it from reaching a crisis. And we'll be exploring how to do that today. I want to tell you about a plant in South America. in many parts of the world actually. It's probably one of your favorite and you didn't even know it. It's called the cacao tree. That's right, cacao, chocolate. It grows in these beautiful red colorful pods on large trees that cast a wide shadow. In many parts of the world where chocolate is farmed, it is the most valuable crop a farmer can grow. It's where they can make the most money. So surely enough, at some point farmers will slowly replace their other crops with the cacao tree. What's the point of growing oranges, mint, banana, or anything else when the real money is in cacao? The problem is once they do this, the cacao tree casts a shadow on the ground, killing the plants and the grass. The lack of biodiversity drives away birds, bees, and other animals. This leads to less fertile ground, less fruit on the trees because of lower pollination. And even the taste of the cacao is worse because it's not being influenced by the flavors of oranges, mints, bananas, and whatever else is being grown around it. It may seem counterintuitive, but instead of growing as much cacao as possible, these farmers would get a greater yield, better quality fruit, and more money if they didn't just focus on cacao, but grow all the plants that keep their farms healthy and thriving. So why am I telling you about cacao agriculture? How does this relate to our well-being toolkits? Well, what is your cacao plant? What is the one thing that is so important to you that you put all your energy towards it? Maybe it's a test, an assignment, training for a sport, a job, improving a skill. Maybe it's a relationship. When something is very important to us, we tend to put all of our energy and resources towards it. We may lose sleep, skip meals, stop seeing friends and family, give up our hobbies, and put our whole energy towards nurturing one thing. But just like the cacao plant, if we put all our focus on that one thing instead of nurturing all the other activities that keep our minds thriving, it'll reduce our overall mental health and lead to worse results on that one thing we've been focusing on. We start stressing, being less focused, less coordinated, more irritable, fatigued, and in the end, we burn out. It seems counterintuitive, but at times when you need to perform well on that one thing that's very important, that is when it's most important to focus on everything else. Make sure we're still finding time to make connections with friends and families, to be mindful of ourselves, to do our hobbies, express ourselves artistically, eat nutritious meals, and sleep. When we nurture all these parts of our well-being, it may give us less time to focus on that one thing, but the time we spend on it will be much better quality and lead to a much better outcome. So let's think about what is the cacao in our lives and what are the other plants in our garden that help us to thrive. Let's build our toolkit so we know how to nurture our whole garden and help our cacao to thrive. I think it's time for an activity. I call this Interdimensional Labels. Here's how it works. I'm going to name an activity and you're going to tell me which of the 5 dimensions of well-being it fits into. A, physical, B, emotional, C, social, D, spiritual, and E, intellectual. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that spiritual can relate to religious practices, but can also be related to your own personal sense of purpose, values, and connection with yourself and the world around you. Also, some activities can fit into multiple categories. First up, reading a book. Reading a book can be intellectual, emotional, or even spiritual depending on the topic of the book and how it makes you feel. Now for round 2, playing a musical instrument. Playing music can be emotional, spiritual, physical, or intellectual, depending on what you're playing and how you are playing it. Round 3, meditation. Meditation can be spiritual, physical, emotional, or intellectual, depending on what you are thinking about. Round 4, drinking water. Drinking water is taking care of yourself physically. And now for round 5, playing video games. Playing games can be social, intellectual, or emotional depending on the game you're playing and if you're playing it with others. Now, I'm going to give you 60 seconds. I would love for you to share with me in the chat or with someone around you what is your favorite activity for self-care and which of the 5 dimensions does it fit into. Try to share something different from the examples I already gave you. Thanks for playing Interdimensional Labels. I hope this helps you to reflect on the aspects of your well-being you need to take care of and the types of activities you need to do to meet these needs. Next up, I'm excited to present today's guest speaker, Joshua Montero from Ontario, Canada. Joshua is going to his first year university and was heavily involved in his high school, being a member of the school football team, acting in school plays, and participating in student politics and leadership clubs. Today, he's here to speak to us about Yes for MH, a school club all about improving student mental health and well-being. Thanks for joining us on today's show, Joshua. Can you tell us more about yourself and why you are passionate about mental health?
Hey everyone, my name is Josh and I'm so excited to be here. So I'm a first year at Western University, and just before we begin, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me. So in high school, I used to play football, I enjoy working out, I have an interest in dramatic arts, and I like taking photos. Like many of you, I'm really passionate about mental health and spreading awareness for this important topic. Unfortunately, in many communities, mental health is kind of a taboo topic due to all the stigma around it. And so one of my goals is I strive to break the stigma, and I do this by doing this interview and by doing stuff that I'll tell you a little bit more later on as we go into this. So over the past few years, I've had the privilege of working with many different clubs and initiatives on helping me succeed in this breaking stigma goal I've had. So in high school, majority of my years I spent working with student council. So we would do things supporting our school's mental health and well-being. In grade 11, I was selected to represent my school in a school board-wide initiative that helped in producing mental health resources as well as bringing awareness to these resources so students in the schools can use and help better their well-being.
You were a founding member of your school's Yes for MH club. Can you share some examples of projects you led?
Yes for MH, or Yes for Mental Health, was a mental health club at our school, and it focused on providing students with resources surrounding their mental health that would help them in their student well-being. So, and I had the honor of helping to create this club along with my fellow students, our teacher leads, and a nurse. So shout out to all of you. I'm so proud of us for accomplishing what we did. So looking back at the memories I've had at this club, and one of them I'm really, really proud about. And this took place during our school's wellness week. So we organized this wellness week, and we had a table where students would come to us and they would exchange a category card. So a category card would be something like, for example, categories would be their financial status or social life or school or a general category, and they would exchange this for a positive affirmation and some helpful advice. And so they would exchange it, and we would give them this positive affirmation, helpful advice, and then they would also, the next part of it was they would write maybe a more personal worry or a more personal thing that was on their mind, and they would put it in this bowl, and it would be a completely anonymous type of situation.
Awesome. That sounds like a really cool way to help your classmates seek advice on their well-being. On a personal level, what is in your Wellbeing Toolkit?
All right, so my Wellbeing Toolkit is something that I'm still working on and something that I'm still kind of tweaking as I go along my journey of life. And just a little note that I'm just sharing strategies that work for me. These may not work for you, so don't feel discouraged if you use one of my strategies and you're like, hey, this isn't really working for me. Don't feel discouraged. Nothing's wrong with that. Everyone has their own strategies they may use. I'm just kind of give you something what I use, and so hopefully that helps. So personally, I have a very strong religious background. I really think that relying on God really does help my mental health, just putting that all to Him. And another thing is, like I mentioned, working out is something that's big to me. So I find that really beneficial, especially paired with a really good workout playlist. I'm telling you, it's just the vibe. So I can go from feeling maybe not so high, kind of on the low mood. I'll go to the gym, I'll do some curls, do some squats, and I'll come back feeling in a more energized, more positive mood, ready to tackle on whatever kind of made me feel in that low mood. Another thing that's another important thing to me is just talking to family and friends. I find it so beneficial to talk to your family and friends, talk to people you trust, because it's just really beneficial. At least that I can find that they may offer perspectives that I didn't even think about, or really helpful advice. And it really helps rather than bottling my emotions in, just talking to people I trust and just venting to them.
Lastly, what advice do you have for other young changemakers?
I know it can be hard at times, but step out of your comfort zone and be okay with rejection. I know it can be hard, but just remember that there's so many more opportunities you're gonna get, and just to be ready for those opportunities, because at the end of the day, we can choose how we react to things. So maybe you didn't get that job you applied for, or that leadership role in the school club, and trust me, I've been there, I've been upset, but then I realized, you know what, there's gonna be plenty of more opportunities, and I'm gonna use what I learned, take this, and persevere. That's really important, to just keep persevering, keep trying to be the best you can be, and ultimately you're gonna land on a gold mine. You're gonna just find what truly moves you, and you're gonna be passionate, and you're gonna have a great time. And finally, I know another cliche, but be kind. Because truly, in a world where you can be anything, and I mean literally anything, why not be kind? Why not smile at people? Why not hold the door? Why not do these little things that cause such a big positive impact? Truly, think about it like this. So think about you're like a lighthouse guiding these ships who are in a storm back to land. So especially the people who are having a hard day, who are really struggling, be patient. Just kind of listen to them, be empathetic, listen to them, hear what they have to say, and just kind of help them go through these times. Be that person that people can come to you, and they can rely on you. They can find support in you.
Thanks for sharing your project with us today, Josh. It is so important to create spaces where people feel safe to seek advice and to Help classmates understand that well-being should be practiced in all aspects of their daily lives. Now it's time for my favorite game. It's time for fact or fiction. The game is simple. I'm going to make a statement, and you're going to tell me in the chat if it's fact or fiction. Here we go, round one. Fact or fiction? An activity in your Wellbeing Toolkit will never be mentally draining. That is fiction. Any activity can be draining if we are stressed about it, doing it too often, or just losing joy in it. Maybe it's a level you can't beat in a video game, or a solo you just can't nail on the guitar. Just like with the cacao plant, our well-being is all about balance and creating a space to take care of the different dimensions of our well-being. The activity we specifically do can change based on our interests at the time, or the way we are feeling about an activity, and that's okay, as long as we are still supporting all dimensions of our well-being. Now for question 2, fact or fiction? Your Wellbeing Toolkit is not physical, it's an idea. That is fiction. It really depends on what you include in your Wellbeing Toolkit. Maybe everything that energizes you is an idea, but maybe you want to carry around a bag of physical things that energize you. A book of inspiring quotes, a letter of affirmation from a friend, a chocolate that brings you comfort, a picture of your family pet, or maybe just headphones to help you listen to music. Your toolkit can be whatever you need it to be, physical or not. Finally, fact or fiction. Your Wellbeing Toolkit is completely personal and private. That is fiction. Once again, it's entirely dependent on you. But you may want to share your toolkit with the people around you so that they can know best how to support you. Or maybe you even want to develop a Wellbeing Toolkit with your friends. Write down the 5 dimensions of well-being and come up with activities you can do as a group so that you can improve each other's well-being together and hold each other accountable. That's all for Fact or Fiction. I hope you have some new ideas to develop your Wellbeing Toolkit and share it with the people all around you. Now it's time for top tips for taking action. I'll be sharing my top tips for creating your Wellbeing Toolkit. And if you have your own tips, share them in the chat. For top tip number 1, audit your daily activities. Make a list of the activities you do on your average day or average week. Then look at your list and decide what are things that drain you but need to be there. What drains you and needs to be removed? And what energizes you and should be a part of your toolkit. Top tip number 2, categorize your well-being activities. Write down the 5 dimensions of well-being and categorize your well-being activities into each category. If you find one category is lacking, come up with new activities that will help you to nurture that dimension of your well-being. Finally, top tip number 3, schedule it in. Once you know the list of activities that energize you, actually schedule them into your day. Don't just hope you'll find time for them. It is important to schedule time for your personal well-being. Otherwise, that will be the first thing you cut out of your day. On days where you know you have something extremely stressful scheduled, make sure you schedule extra time to take care of yourself in that process. You're more likely to take a break if you have an alarm for it in your phone, telling you to stop whatever you're doing and take care of your well-being. That's the end of our global classroom today. I hope you feel set up to develop your own well-being toolkit so that you can properly tend to your garden that is your own mental health. If you want to learn more about Wellbeing Canada, visit wellbeing-canada.ca or follow them on social at Wellbeing Canada. For access to all classroom resources, award opportunities, or past global classrooms, visit educationplus.org. That's all for today's Global Classroom. I hope to see you again next month. Bye for now.